94% of Lego's products were failing. The world's most beloved toy company was $800 million in debt, burning through $1 million a day. This isn't just another business story. It's about how crazy decisions nearly killed a business empire, and how only one person had the brains and the guts to save it. But could Lego's greatest strength ultimately prove to be its greatest weakness? Lego built global success from tiny plastic bricks, but the story starts with wood in tiny Billund, Denmark, 1932. Ole Kirk Christensen is struggling. The Great Depression hit his furniture business hard, so now he's making wooden toys. In the late 1940s, he spots an opportunity. Plastics are taking off, so Christensen adds a product line, plastic building blocks, blocks with little knobs on the top to hold them in place. Customers think the plastic toys are cheap garbage. Plus, the bricks don't really stick together. Why build something that's just going to fall apart? It's going to take a simple, brilliant breakthrough and a heartbreaking disaster to set Lego on the road to global success. But a breakthrough comes in 1958. Lego patents something called the tube system. Tubes underneath each brick gave them more grab. The result was Goldilocks perfect. Not too loose, not too tight. Now it seems obvious, but back then, it was a complete game changer. This tiny change meant even an 8-year-old could build something and it would stay built. Lego is on the edge of success. Then, a business-shattering disaster. The factory burns to the ground. The wooden toys are all gone. The Christensen family has to make a tough decision. Should they rebuild everything or go all in on plastic bricks? Ole's son, Gottfred, makes the fateful call. It will change the company forever. It will also come back to bite the firm decades later. "We're going with plastic," says Gottfred. Specifically, ABS plastic. This was a monumental upgrade. ABS is incredibly durable, precise, non-toxic, with colors that never fade. Finally, Lego has the product that will make it a household name. But the product was only half the story. The other half was philosophy. It was that winning philosophy that Lego would one day abandon. For the next 30 years, Lego was printing money. Sales doubled, then doubled again. By 1990, Lego owned 80% of the construction toy market. They were unstoppable. They had the best bricks on the market. But they also had a genius idea. Lego wasn't just a toy, it was a system. If you've got a bucket of bricks, you can build anything. One product, infinite possibilities. That's what put Lego bricks in every household. It's what made Lego a childhood staple. Then, a nightmare scenario strikes, and Lego loses its mind. PlayStation, Nintendo 64, Tamagotchis, Pokemon, the internet was exploding. Kids were eating at a digital buffet. Lego's executives were terrified. They looked at their simple brick and saw a dinosaur, a relic, something Grandpa played with. Kids don't want bricks anymore. We need to be an entertainment company. They weren't just going to diversify, they were going to be everything to everyone. First up, theme parks. Legoland California, Legoland Windsor, Legoland Deutschland. Each park cost hundreds of millions to build, and they hemorrhaged money from day one. To run a theme park, you need expertise in hospitality, crowd management, seasonal staffing, and ride maintenance. Lego had none of that. And it gets worse. They added clothing lines, not just t-shirts, full fashion collections. Lego watches, Lego shoes, Lego backpacks. They produced TV shows that nobody watched. They launched video games on 5 different platforms. They crashed and burned. Then there were the theme sets. Jackstone, an action figure that couldn't be customized. Galador, weird alien figures that weren't even compatible with regular Lego bricks. They launched Lego Primo for babies. They created Lego Scala, dolls with barely any building involved. The company that let kids build anything, now selling toys that could only be one thing. There were new pieces for every single set, special pieces that worked with nothing else. A piece that could only be a helicopter windshield. A piece that could only be a dinosaur tail. They went from 6,000 different Lego pieces to 14,000. The supply chain was chaos. Factories couldn't keep up. Inventory costs exploded. Stores didn't know what to stock. This is the company whose entire success came from keeping things simple, from pieces that work together. Instead of saving the company, these moves put LEGO on the edge of bankruptcy. 2003 hit LEGO like a sledgehammer. The board demands a full financial review. What they discover makes everyone sick. $250 million loss, $800 million in debt. 94% of LEGO products were actively losing money. Only 6% of what they made kept the company alive. The profitable 6%? Classic LEGO city sets, basic brick buckets, the simple stuff. They were burning through $1 million a day. The banks were circling. Rumors started swirling. Was rival toy maker Mattel preparing a hostile takeover? The founding family was watching their legacy die. But what they chose to do next would shock industry insiders. For the first time ever, LEGO hired a CEO from outside the family. Jörgen V. Knudstorp, 36 years old. He'd come to LEGO with zero toy industry experience. He'd spent 3 years working on LEGO's strategic planning. He watched the disaster unfold from the inside. He knew exactly what was broken, and Knudstorp had something the family didn't: distance. He could make the brutal decisions that needed to be made. His diagnosis was savage. You abandoned the brick. You tried to be everything. Now you're nothing. He showed the leadership team a slide, a healthy tree covered in diseased, dying branches. "This is LEGO," he said. "The trunk is strong, the roots are deep, but these branches are killing the whole tree." His turnaround plan had 3 phases: survive, stabilize, grow. First, survive. Stop the bleeding. Cut everything that's losing money. His first move shocked everyone. Knudstorp didn't come to play. He came to cut. First on the chopping block, the theme parks. Gone. Sold to a company that knew how to run them. That instantly removed hundreds of millions in losses. Next, the product line. 14,000 different pieces, slashed to just 7,000. But Knudstorp didn't just cut randomly. He studied every piece. How often was it used? Could another piece do the same job? Specialized pieces that only worked in one set? Chopped. The supply chain simplified overnight. Costs dropped 30%. Clothing line? Dead. Random TV shows? Canceled. Weird action figures? Goodbye. If it wasn't about the brick, it was gone. He fired nearly 1,000 employees, moved production from Switzerland to cheaper facilities in Mexico and the Czech Republic. And then he brought in the dream team. Knudstorp discovered something incredible. LEGO had been ignoring their most passionate customers for decades. These people were obsessed. They had conventions, they built cities, they spent thousands on bricks. Previous management thought adults playing with LEGO was embarrassing. Knudstorp thought it was a gold mine. He flew to their conventions. He listened. What did they want? Complex builds, architectural challenges, sets that took days to complete. So Knudstorp launched LEGO Ideas. Fans could submit designs. If 10,000 people voted for it, LEGO would try to make it real. The first fan design was a massive model of the Shinkai deep-sea research vessel. The kit sold out immediately. These weren't cheap toys. They were experiences, costing $300, $400, even $800. And adults were buying them faster than LEGO could make them. The cuts were working. Costs dropped. Focus returned. The company stabilized. But Knudstorp had one more genius move to ice the comeback. It was a brilliant marketing coup. LEGO had tried licensed products before. They sucked. They slapped Star Wars on a box and called it done. Knudstorp said, "No, we're going to make the best Star Wars sets ever created." He flew to Lucasfilm, made a deal. LEGO designers would work directly with Star Wars designers. The result? The ultimate collector's Millennium Falcon. 5,195 pieces. Critics scoffed. Too expensive, too complex. Nobody would buy it. In hours, it sold out. Resellers were getting $2,000 on eBay. Same with Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. Each set was a challenge, a story, an achievement, something you'd display with pride. But here's what nobody expected. parents were buying these kits for themselves. Dad buys the Death Star for his kid. 3 weeks later, it's in Dad's office, untouched by children. Sales exploded. These partnerships printed money. And then, to seal the deal, Knudstorp launched the marketing masterstroke, the Lego Movie. Critics snorted. What is this? A 90-minute commercial? But the Lego Movie was brilliant, funny, emotional. A film about creativity, imagination, and breaking the rules. It made $470 million at the box office. But forget about the money. This movie rehabilitated Lego's image. Suddenly, Lego was cool again. The cheerful theme song, "Everything is Awesome," was everywhere. Kids who hadn't touched Lego in years were begging for sets. The film's message? You don't need special pieces. You don't need instructions. You just need imagination and basic bricks. It was literally a movie about why Lego's 1990 strategy was wrong. From near death to the world's most valuable toy company, between 2003 and 2025, revenue multiplied by a factor of 5. Today, Lego is untouchable, the most valuable toy company on Earth. Profit margins that make Apple jealous. They sell $75 billion of their iconic bricks every year. That's 10 bricks for every person on Earth. Lego survived because they learned that innovation isn't always about what's new. Sometimes it's about doing what you've always done, but better. Your greatest strength is your identity. The second you run from it, you're dead. From the edge of bankruptcy to the most valuable toy company in history. Today, they're worth $15 billion, all because a 36-year-old outsider had the guts to say, "Stop trying to be cool, just be Lego." What company do you think is making Lego's mistake right now? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to see how another massive company completely fumbled their core product, watch the story of how Quibi set fire to more than $1 billion. And for more stories of business breakdowns, remember to like and subscribe.